I can't believe this is going to be my first mommy blogger roundtable, and I am very excited about it. So happy to be in the mommy club.
Hi, I'm Ashley from With Ashley and Co. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us.
Yes.
So you had some amazing outfits in this film, very punk rock, goth, princess, goddess. Were they difficult to move in? Did you have any favorites? Just what was that like?
Since this is the mommy blog, we can know all the secrets. So I did this movie when I was still breastfeeding. So we had little tricks and secret zippers to get me in and out of them and comfortable enough, so I could get to my baby. This is like one of my favorite things about this movie is the costumes, and our costume designer Autumn had built a lookbook that I got to see before I actually got there. And I wanted to work with her so badly because she had just had an aesthetic and a take on this character that was so fresh. You want to play homage to the great witches, but you don't want to repeat something you've already seen. And she just had this, she's also very cool herself. And she just had this take that was kind of like a goth Barbie, right? Like a goth punk witch Barbie. And part of the fun of it was just really going for it and supporting her vision and collaborating with her was just so much fun.
Thank you so much for being here. You were absolutely delicious as a villain. We have watched the movie now, I think 4 times. And I wanted to know what was like playing the villain this time.
I loved it. When I first was sent the script, I was like, oh, this is like my dream. This is like a role of a lifetime. I love opportunities to be over the top and unexpected. And you want to play characters that have a lot of colors. And so what I first was so drawn to was the fact that she was very funny and fabulous and childlike herself at moments, and then truly terrifying and evil and deranged and like sick, like a total psychopath. So for me as a performer, it was just so great to be able to do a little bit of everything and never know what's coming. And like sometimes when she would just like scream at the kids and it's like really jarring. Playing like the big bad over the top was just like too much fun.
Hi, I'm Lynette with Fantastic Life. Loved the role, although it was a little bit scary. So I would love to know what your process is for getting into character.
Yeah, so my process is kind of always like, I read the script, sit with it, see what sticks out to me the most and sort of like work my way in. I work with my longtime acting coach. Her name is Marjorie Ballantyne, and we just start like breaking it down together and playing around with like a feeling and really working from a place of her backstory. We have that unexpected twist in the movie of her backstory, and that was a really great place to work from, and that informed a lot of the choices that we made and that I made to bring her to life. That informs the color of her hair, the color of her shoes, how she expresses herself. I feel like also the hair and the makeup and the wardrobe really inform that as well. This is just one of those parts that's just like so fun. And like the more I would spend time putting it on its feet, I'd practice my lines at home with my baby, who just would laugh and laugh and laugh. Just like used to sink into it more and more each day. So that's how I sort of got into it. Just like play around more and more each day until I find the right temperature.
Hi, Krysten. I'm Amanda from Guide for Moms and Crazy Amanda Racks on YouTube. And you had to work with it all. You worked with the kids and the animals and the creepy critters. And I just wondered, what was it like on set?
Yeah, so it was also during COVID. So it was all like very separated. I would often be doing my scenes by myself or with tennis balls on C-stands or just an eye line, an X, which was a totally new thing. It's because you're working with kids who can only be on set a certain amount of hours. And it's because of COVID and everybody needs to be like kept pretty separate. So I would say that was a unique and interesting challenge. However, it was kind of great for the part because Natasha is more of, I sort of approached her like she's always on a stage. She's always like performing and always like, you know, kind of over the top. Like I thought about like old movie stars like Joan Crawford and Betty Davis and how, you know, funny and big and over the top they were. So the process of actually filming it was very interesting and unique and ultimately really fun.
Fantastic. So thank you again for joining us. We're very excited. So you always play these characters that have a little bit of a wicked side, and I'd love to know how much you relate to some of these characteristics in real life.
I think it's probably no coincidence. You know, I sort of like, this is my toolbox and I funnel the characters like in and it comes out through me. So it's still, there's a little bit of me, I think, in all of the roles, but to different degrees. I for sure have a lot of fun doing it. I like to change it up. And I feel like I've been so fortunate in my career to always do something different. Like I have a lot of friends who have maybe are frustrated that they've only played like the wife or the girlfriend. And I actually don't think I have ever played a wife or a girlfriend. I actually don't. You know, any opportunity for me to do something like new and fresh and unexpected is kind of what I relish in. Yeah.
Hi. So I was laughing at some of the things that you would say to the kids in the movies because I felt like as a mom, I could kind of see myself in you when you were saying these things, because sometimes I get a little snarky with my kids if they've been too much. And so I know that you have a young son. So have you ever been tempted as a mom to kind of throw that snark in there?
Not yet, but you know, never say never. He's so little still that he's just like a delicious little angel. So not yet, but I did practice my lines on my son. I would try and like scare him a little with my lines, and he just thought it was the funniest thing he's ever seen. And he like also does the wicked laugh. So that's one fun thing that came from this movie. We have our little secret like language that he also does. Yeah, luckily we're not there yet. He's still like delicious and innocent.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time today. I'm Tessa Smith with mamasgeeky.com and watched the movie last night with my daughters who are 8 and 10. Absolutely loved it. And when it ended, they literally started spewing all these ideas for a sequel. So I'm curious if there maybe could be one, and if there would be, is it something you'd be interested in?
Oh yes, I would be there in a second. 1 second. I mean, you wouldn't even have to like finish the sentence because I had so much fun playing this part. But I also love the movie. I got to see it a few weeks ago, and I didn't know what to expect. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this movie. I love the sets and I love the message, you know, about being different and how that makes you, you know, special. And that's what makes you awesome. I think that this is the kind of movie I would have just devoured as a kid. But I also think for the parents, there's such great stuff like the Lost Boys references and all the references to the stuff that we love and grew up with. I loved, you know, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and those big set pieces and Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory and Beetlejuice. And it just felt like there was, and The Lost Boys, myself, one of my favorite movies. I just felt like there was like something for everybody. And it was nice to see something so fresh and artistic and creative. So I'm glad to hear that you guys liked the movie with your kids. Did they think it was too scary, or did they jump?
Yeah, they jumped quite a bit. My 10-year-old said it was really good and not enough for nightmares at her age. My 8-year-old said anyone under 8 will get nightmares, but I didn't because I'm brave. So
I feel like I've been hearing that from kids too. Like I've heard of a couple 7-year-olds being like, it wasn't scary. I thought it was cool. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys could watch that as a family.
Hi, good morning. My name is Monica Young from My Life is a Journey. And I would like to know, now that we are talking about the scary things, if anything scary or freaky happened and said while you were filming.
We did get to, nothing really scary or creepy happened on set, but I think because we were filming in the fall, like during spooky season, we were in Toronto and the leaves were falling. We really did like play up, the Halloween and the fun of it. My baby really enjoyed my blue hair. I didn't want him to be like too freaked out by my looks, so I would just be in my regular clothes in the trailer where he was with his like toys, and then I would go to set and like have like a corner I would throw my clothes on, so I wouldn't disrupt his world. But he thought the blue hair was really funny, and we did like wear our skeleton onesies like more days than Halloween. So we kind of leaned into it and had fun with it.
Hi, I'm Jennifer from Real Mom of SFB. And I was wondering if you had read the novel that the movie is based on, or did you approach it in a more pure manner and just go strictly off of the screenplay?
Yeah, so I went with the screenplay because everything did happen kind of quickly. And when you have to like go away for work with a baby, it's challenging, and it's a whole other thing. It's not like the old days when I could just like throw some t-shirts in the suitcase and go. So I got the movie and immediately had to get going to Canada through the quarantine, and wanted to like do some work on the character. So we just kind of dove in, the director and I, on the script and making like digging deeper in places and doing any tweaks. But the writers on this film were fantastic. I have gotten in touch with J.A. White, the author of the books, to send my love, and I know the book is very well loved, and I believe there's a sequel for the books coming out. So I didn't get a chance to read the book, but I'm so grateful that they adapted this and that this part existed for me to play.
Hi, I'm Karen from Rockin' Mama, and again, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Since we are in the fall and Halloween, I wanted to know what your favorite scary story or movie is, or both.
Yeah, I love like the holiday, I love Halloween. It's the best, and I love all of the holiday movies that come out around now. Listen, I like the scary, like harder stuff. Like I'll watch Saw and I'll watch The Conjuring. I'll watch all of that, but I also just love Hocus Pocus, and those kind of like classics that you can rewatch every year. I think my favorite like horror movie would be The Lost Boys and The Craft and Scream. Like those are like, the like defining horror films from like my teenage years. So my heart's still there.
With you filming separately, how do you feel like the sets actually like helped your imagination with, staying in character, bringing her to life and making it so believable?
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like when I saw it, I was just like, wow, these sets look so good. Like the night nursery and the staircase, and also the style of the storytelling within the movie. I just love that aesthetic. Because Natasha really only is in the apartment. So I didn't really totally know what to expect. I had seen drawings and I had a good sense of David Yarovetsky's style, our director, which I love. I think that he has a real creative, fresh, vibe. And I think that he's a director to watch. So yeah, when I saw the movie, I kind of didn't know what to expect, and I was absolutely blown away. And it doesn't always happen. I think when you make a project, you either catch lightning in a bottle or you don't. And sometimes things turn out great and sometimes they don't. And you just never know. And I just felt like when I watched this movie, like, cool. I was like, this movie is so great. I'm so into it. And it's just so up my alley.
Hi. So I wanted to know about Easter eggs. You talked a little bit about like the Lost Boys references in there, which, it's great, searching for the undead. And, there's definitely like, there was the Hansel and Gretel reference, like right off the bat with the witch in the woods. What other kind of Halloween or spooky, children's tales type references are in there that we should expect or look for?
Yeah. Without spoiling it too much, but I definitely felt like there were some Beetlejuice similarities. You remember on Beetlejuice, they would go outside of the apartment, there'd be the sandworm. Obviously in the Nightbooks, don't have a sandworm, but there's something. I also, her gloves with the crazy nails is very like Freddy Krueger-ish. Not as like vicious and not as insane and violent as that, but there's like that nod. Yeah. And there's just like, a little bit of like witchy stuff. I mean, I watched Angelica Houston and the Witches. I watched Cruella de Vil. I mean, even though she's not a witch, she's witchy. So there's a lot of like different flavors in there. I remember growing up, like I loved the scene in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids where they're like going through the blades of grass and it's so larger than life. It's almost like a theme park. And I felt like the Night Nursery had some of that, like also like Willy Wonka, whenever all their sets, like they can eat everything, like the Night Nursery had like that sort of larger than life vibe. So I think there's a lot of sort of stuff in there that parents will like and kids will like, and there's a lot of like good Easter eggs to 80s homage horror movies.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much. I'm Susie from Happy Miss Moments. So you were scary and fabulous. Me and my 11-year-old loved it. Now we're trying to convince my 6-year-old son to watch it. What message do you hope kids will learn from this movie?
I just think that what I love the aesthetic of this movie. I love the little kids, kind of like a punk rock vibe and like cool, like different clothes. And he really like expressed himself with how he looks and dresses and his art, right? His drawings and his writings. And that thing that he got picked on at school is actually what makes him awesome. And I think that's a message that is so great for kids and adults. And I think we all respond to that. I know as a kid, it was like weird and different myself. Like this is the kind of thing I would have just eaten up. Like this is a movie for like the cool kids, and like the cool might not like look the same way as we think it does. So I think that's a great takeaway for this film.
So your character can kind of create things, the door and how the apartment changes, and she's got the magic. So if you could create anything, what would it be?
I guess like just whatever I want, whenever I want it, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being a mom, I would love to like just sometimes just create like the toys being put away, or like create like a beautiful lunch or dinner that my baby also wants to eat. It's so funny how your priorities change so much when you become a mom. Like now when it's lunchtime, I'm like looking in the fridge, like, what do I do? What am I going to make? Is he going to eat it? Yeah. I feel like I do always like pick up toys, just picking up toys all the time.
Yeah, that's our life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.